in perfect waves. She glanced at Harper, her lip curling. "This is a training ground, not some low-budget war movie cosplay," she said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass, amplified by the livestream mic overhead. "You know which end of the rifle you're supposed to hold," he barked, his tone dripping with disdain. Harper met his gaze, her hazel eyes unwavering. "I'll figure it out," she said softly, her words a quiet vow. The crowd snickered, their phones out, poised for her failure. The billionaire heir, Ethan Caldwell, was the range's golden boy, a 25-year-old with dark curls, a chiseled jaw, and eyes that could charm or burn. His black tactical gear was tailored to perfection, and his custom rifle, a .60 work of art, gleamed like a predator. He just fired a round, 9.9, 9.8, 9.7, his scores flashing on the digital board to roars of approval. He turned, spotting Harper, and his grin was a weapon. "If you beat me, I'll leave immediately," he said, his voice smooth and mocking, loud enough for the live stream. "But if I win, you're gone, janitor." The crowd erupted, their laughter a tidal wave. Ethan leaned closer, his breath warm. "No pressure, sweetheart." Harper didn't flinch. She nodded once, her silence louder than their jeers. The livestream audience seethed, their hearts with Harper, urging her to shatter their arrogance. The mockery didn't let up as Harper set up at lane 8. Connor Blake sauntered over, his tracksuit screaming wealth. "That rifle's a fossil," he sneered, his voice carrying to the livestream. "Bet it falls apart before you fire." He flicked a spent casing toward her. Coffee stirred at her feet, grinning. "Pick it up, maintenance girl." The crowd laughed, their phones recording, captions forming. Her train's trash. Vanessa adjusted her optics, her voice cutting. "You're embarrassing yourself, hun. Go home before you shoot your foot off. Time for amateurs with relics." Harper's hands moved with quiet precision, loading her rifle, her face a mask of calm. Her mother's face, watching the live stream from a hospital bed, crumpled each insult a wound to her daughter's pride. The Rangers' social media feed was a battlefield, posts piling on. "Hey, scrapyard shooter," one read, with a close-up of Harper's faded jeans. "She's a fake," another commented, shared by a politician's daughter. In the lounge, Tyler Reed stood, his voice booming. "Why is she even here? This is our range, not a soup kitchen shoot." The crowd cheered, their elitism a fortress around Harper. A girl in a designer jacket, Mia Hole, tossed a crumpled score sheet at Harper's feet, calling, "Clean that up, janitor." The paper skidded across the floor, grazing her boots. But Harper didn't pause. Her braids swayed as she checked her rifle, her hazel eyes locked on the target 50 meters out. The audience's rage burned, their fury at the mob's cruelty a fire ready to explode. The insults grew sharper as Harper stood at the lane. A retired general, now a range consultant, leaned toward Coach Pierce, his voice loud enough for the live stream. "This is what happens when you let scholarships in," he muttered, gesturing at Harper. "No breathing, no skill." The crowd murmured agreement, their phones flashing, capturing Harper's stillness. Vanessa stood, her optics glinting, and called out, "You're a walking embarrassment, girl. Leave before you make us all look bad." Connor Blake added, "Bet she's never even fired a gun. Probably stole that pass." The laughter swelled, a vicious chorus, each word a stone hurled at Harper's dignity. Her fingers brushed her rifle, a faint tremor the only sign of tension, but her face remained serene, her silence a wall against their scorn. Ethan took his turn first, his movements smooth, his rifle an extension of his will. The digital board flashed. 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. Near perfect, his grouping tight as a fist. The crowd roared, clapping, their smirks aimed at Harper. "Good luck, thrift store," Ethan called, his grin cocky, his eyes daring her to crumble. The livestream comments surged. "She's toast. No way she tops that."
Like
Harper stepped to the line, her Monica ran steady in her hands. The crowd hushed, their phones raised, ready voice for her loud humiliation. For the live stream. She exhaled. "This is what happens when you let scholarships in." Laser, he muttered, 50 meters out, Harper, a tiny red dot centered among hundreds of rings. The audience held their breath, their anger at her treatment a pulse in their veins. Shot 1, 10. The board chimed, a soft ping that sliced the silence. Murmurs rippled. "Lucky shot," Tyler scoffed, crossing his arms. Harper didn't blink. Shot 2, 10. The ping came again, sharper now. Vanessa's optics slipped, her smirk fading. Shot 3, 10. The ranger's congratulatory melody played a rare chime for 3 perfect shots in a row. The crowd froze, their laughter dying. "Beginner's luck," Connor muttered, but his voice cracked. Harper's face remained calm, her hazel eyes locked on the target. The livestream audience leaned closer, their hearts pounding, sensing a storm brewing. Shot 4, 10. The melody played again, louder, insistent. Coach Pierce's clipboard trembled in his hands. Shot 5, 10. A headset clattered to the floor, dropped by a stunned athlete. Shot 6, 10. The range was a graveyard, every eye on Harper, her faded jacket a beacon under the lights. Ethan's grin was gone, his jaw tight, his eyes narrowing. The live stream exploded. "Who is this girl? This is insane!" Harper's braids swayed as she adjusted her grip, her movements precise, almost sacred. The audience's anger turned to awe, their faith in her growing with each shot. Shot 7, 10. The melody was a hymn now, echoing off the steel walls. Tyler's face paled, his bravado crumbling. Shot 8, 10. Vanessa ripped off her optics, her hands shaking. Shot 9, 10. The crowd was silent, their phones lowered, their mockery a distant memory. Shot 10, 10 perfect center, overlapping the first bullet, not a millimeter off. The board flashed. New record, 100. The melody played one final time, triumphant, as the system announced. Facility record broken. Harper lowered her rifle, her breath steady, her hazel eyes sweeping the room. The audience roared, their hearts soaring her triumph, a blaze that burned away their scorn. She turned, calm, dead steady, and spoke, her voice soft but piercing. "My father taught me to shoot when I was 6, she said, her words cutting through the silence like a blade. "He was the #1 sniper in his unit, while you were still learning how to double-click a mouse." The crowd parted, their heads bowed, their earlier cruelty a weight they couldn't shake. Coach Pierce, the ex-Marine, rose from his chair, his eyes shining with respect. He began to clap, slow and deliberate, the sound echoing in the stillness. One by one, others joined the applause, swelling, a tide of reckoning. Ethan stood frozen, his mouth twitching, his heart stumbling as he saw her smile just a flicker, but enough to unravel him. Ethan Caldwell stood rooted, his once cocky grin replaced by a flush of shame, as Harper's perfect 100 glowed on the board. Her smile, faint but radiant, caught him like a spark, his heart tripping over itself. I was an idiot," he said, his voice cracking loud enough for the livestream to catch. "You're not just better, you're untouchable." The crowd's silence was heavy, their earlier jeers now a collective wound. Ethan's eyes, once sharp with arrogance, softened, tracing Harper's calm poise, her faded jacket now a badge of honor. The livestream comments shifted. "He's done. She's a queen." Coach Pierce nodded, his voice booming. "Mr. Caldwell, your scores are no longer the standard. Step aside." Ethan's shoulders slumped, but his gaze lingered on Harper, her smile a quiet fire that lit something new in him. The audience cheered, their hearts soaring as Ethan's fall and Harper's rise intertwined, her triumph a blade that cut through his pride. Ethan's face burned, his 10s and 9s now a public humiliation. He'd mocked her, challenged her, and lost in front of everyone. The live stream captured his pale shock, comments flooding. She destroyed him. Harper, legend. He stepped forward, his voice low, almost reverent. "I was wrong," he said, his eyes searching hers. "You're incredible." Harper nodded, her smile faint but warm a spark that caught him off guard. The crowd watched, their silence a canvas for her victory. Coach Pierce approached, his voice gruff but proud. "That was the finest shooting I've seen in 40 years, he said. "Your father's legacy lives in you." Harper's eyes softened, Her promise kept, her mission complete. The Rangers director, General Marcus Tate, stepped forward, his silver hair catching the LED lights, his voice resonant across the lanes. "Harper Lane has redefined excellence," he declared, his words broadcast to the live stream. "Her record of 100 is now the benchmark for Hawthorne." He turned to the staff, his gaze stern. Those who mocked her Derek, Professor Vance, face suspension, pending review. Standards here are about skill, not status. The crowd gasped, the guilty shrinking, their arrogance crumbling. Tate raised a hand, unveiling a digital plaque on the screen. "Harper Lane, record holder." Harper stood tall, her smile a quiet glow, catching Ethan's eye again, his heart racing at her grace. The livestream audience roared, their applause echoing online. Harper Lane was trending, a symbol of truth. The audience's hearts swelled, Harper's victory a permanent mark on the Rangers' legacy. The Rangers' hierarchy